Alexei stood at the window of his small apartment in Moscow, staring out at the bustling city below. The neon lights cast a surreal glow over the streets, where people hurried home or to the bars that would offer a few hours of solace from the harsh realities of life in Russia. He sighed, wondering if he would ever be able to live openly as a gay man in this country that he both loved and feared. He turned away from the window and picked up his phone, dialing Maria's number. She answered on the second ring. "Alexei, I was just about to call you." "Have you heard the news?" Maria's voice was tense, filled with the urgency that had become all too familiar. "No, what happened?" Alexei asked, already dreading the answer. "There's been another crackdown. They arrested a group of activists in St. Petersburg. It's getting worse. Alexei, we need to be careful." Alexei felt a knot form in his stomach. He knew the risks Maria took every day as an activist. "Maria, you need to stay safe. I don't know what I'd do if something happened to you." Maria's laughter was bitter. "Safe? In this country? I think you're the one who needs to stay safe, my friend. We all do. But we can't stop fighting. Not now." Alexei knew she was right. Despite the danger, they had to continue their fight for acceptance and equality. He just wished it didn't feel so hopeless sometimes. Maria sat in her cluttered apartment, surrounded by pamphlets and posters for the next protest. Her laptop was open to an encrypted chat where she communicated with other activists. They were planning a major event in Red Square, a bold move that could either bring much-needed attention to their cause or result in severe repercussions. She leaned back in her chair and closed her eyes, thinking about the risks. Every day she walked a fine line between activism and survival. But what choice did she have? The injustice and hatred she saw around her every day fueled her determination. Her phone buzzed with a message from Ivan, a government official who had become an unexpected ally. Despite his position, he had discreetly provided information and support for their cause. She trusted him, but she knew even he had his limits. "Be careful, Maria. They're watching you closely," the message read. She typed back quickly, "Thanks for the heads up. We'll be cautious." Ivan's position put him in a precarious situation. He had joined the government with hopes of making a difference, but he quickly realized the harsh realities of the system he was part of. His hidden support for the LGBT community was a dangerous secret, one that could cost him everything if discovered. Nina sat in the newsroom, staring at her computer screen. Her latest assignment was to write a piece on the rising visibility of the LGBT community in Russia. It was a topic she had mixed feelings about. On one hand, she knew the stance she was expected to take, condemning and criticizing the so-called Western influence, but on the other hand, there was her brother, whose secret life she had recently discovered. She remembered the day she found out. Nikolai had come to her, tears in his eyes, confessing that he was gay. She had been shocked, not by his sexuality, but by the realization of what it meant for him in Russia. Since then, she had become more sympathetic, more understanding of the struggles faced by the LGBT community. Now she was torn between her duty as a journalist and her loyalty to her brother. She opened a blank document and began to type, pouring her heart into the article, hoping to shed light on the truth, even if it meant putting herself at risk. The day of the protest arrived, and the tension in the air was palpable. Alexei and Maria joined the crowd in Red Square, holding their signs high, their voices loud and clear. They knew the risks, but they also knew the importance of standing up for their rights. Ivan watched from the sidelines, his heart pounding with anxiety. He had done what he could to minimize the police presence, but he knew it wouldn't be enough. He saw the determination in the protesters' faces and felt a pang of guilt for not being able to do more. Nina was there too, not as a journalist, but as a sister and an ally. She had decided to cover the protest from a different angle, one that would hopefully bring international attention to their cause. She spotted Alexei and Maria in the crowd and felt a surge of pride. The protest started peacefully, but it didn't take long for the situation to escalate. The police moved in, and chaos erupted. Alexei found himself pushed to the ground, his vision blurring as he was handcuffed. Maria tried to fight back, but she was quickly overpowered. Ivan watched in horror, feeling powerless. He knew he couldn't intervene without revealing his own sympathies. but he couldn't just stand by and do nothing. Nina captured everything on her camera, her hands shaking. She knew this footage could be dangerous, but it was the truth the world needed to see. The aftermath of the protest was grim. Alexei and Maria were released after a few days, bruised but not broken. Their resolve had only grown stronger. Ivan continued to work from the inside, finding ways to support the cause discreetly. And Nina's article and footage sparked outrage and support from around the world. Change was slow, but it was happening. More and more Russians began to question the government's stance on LGBT rights, influenced by the bravery of people like Alexei, Maria, and Nina. As Alexei looked out his window once more, he felt a glimmer of hope. The fight was far from over, but they were not alone. The world was watching, and together, they would continue to push for a better future.